There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension of Twilight Zone podcast. I'm of course your.
Are you something?
I was gonna see if I could. I was gonna see if I could go backwards, like say it backwards, and then like repeat myself. I should have done it with like sweat. It's like sweat pouring down my face.
So much
and, like,
sweat.
This is a dream. This is a dream. No, see what happens is like this is like the precursor to Duel. So therefore, he's just constantly in a state of panic. So he's waiting for that truck to come after him and stuff like that. Have you guys ever seen
him,
Duel?
isn't it? I didn't realize
It's
that.
Dennis Weaver. Yeah, it's the guy in the car being chased by the truck.
Oh shit!
Hey, what if this is a precursor to what if the person in the truck is Nan Adams?
Oh, it is. It's Nan Adams.
Riv,
Oh shit!
I think we have
Holy
a connection.
balls.
Got the connection.
Holy balls.
But anyway, so Dennis Weaver is being chased by Nan Adams in this as a precursor in this movie or this episode. So, but with that said, we're back, guys. We are here to talk another episode of the Twilight Zone. I am, of course, your host, Nick. We are, of course, on audio feeds, like I always say, like Anchor and Amazon and Google Play, and reversing and replaying every episode because it turns out different every time. That type of thing. So
Yay.
yay. So with that said, I am, of course, here with my two co-hosts, which, of course, are Triv from Trivial Theater and Jacob from Jacob Anders Reviews. Both are they're playing different roles tonight. Jacob is the 2D figure and Triv is the man with the eyeball. I know, right? You should have turned had you
I should have
voice
given
out
you
Triv.
my background and you give me yours.
I mean, I could do a 3D
And I
body
could-
with a 2D head.
you
It
could
would
just,
just be
like-
a little bit odd. I mean, I could just go hands off. Hang on here. I can just go hands off. There. Better?
And this whole time. And every now and then go.
You could do the Japanese Godzilla thing as Triv talking like,
Yes.
and then at some point you gotta go.
You have to. Yeah, you have to match my inflection, or you'll have to do the inflection of what I'm.
Yeah, Triv, you should put Triv, you'll have to put explosions in the background.
I mean, I could do that, but as far as this is about as animated as I get, I'm afraid.
Well,
I got expressive eyebrows.
this is one beer Triv. Like two beer Triv will be like doing the Team America thing where like
Again, if my arms weren't stuck to my side, that wouldn't be an issue. But I can't really
oh, I don't want to know what you do with your sticky time. So
Animate those arms, Triv. Hashtag animate those arms.
she has the Who Framed Roger Rabbit
uh,
like glue thing. She's like hit the wall with her. She's like, oh man. So with that said, let's talk about a super serial episode of the Twilight Zone. One that is dark and disturbing.
And I love it.
And I love it, but the ending is interesting.
Oh, it's so
It's not a twist ending. I'll give it that. It's an ending that this is actually an episode that plays it pretty straightforward for an episode that deals with what I would call very similar to Vanilla Sky, where you're not really sure if what he's telling is the truth or not, but we'll see. That, of course, is season 2, episode 26, which is Shadow Play, directed by John Brahm, written by Charles Beaumont. How does Rod Serling say he's like Charles like how he says Charles Beaumont?
Charles
Like he has that
Beaumont.
that very New York accent style when he says like the writer's name. I don't know.
Charles Beaumont.
It's kind of cool.
Is it the
Charles Beaumont.
yeah, there
Yes,
you go.
that's it. Yeah,
He's channeling Serling.
exactly.
Yay.
Yeah.
Brought to us by a wonderful writer, Mr. Charles Beaumont.
You gotta have the cigarette. See when you do the episode, exactly.
There you
got
go.
the smoke coming out.
The softest taste. Like juts his lip out. The
What
softest
exactly?
taste.
Like it kind of like puckers like the sides of his mouth. Like how does he? Does he-
I mean, the beard's covering that way here. like this comes out like Bubba Gump on her.
Oh, okay, got it. So it kind of juts
Juts
his lower jaw out a bit.
I mean, that's it's kind of probably exaggerating it, but
Well, still, but
when I
it's still
see
that
it,
point.
He has that wry, like not smile, but smile, like you would see like in the 1950s TV show or something like that, or 60s
It's like
show
a
where
Mona
you're sitting at a
Lisa.
bar. Yeah, you're sitting at a bar with a like a was it old fashioned or something like that.
Highball.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen Ed Wood, but Vincent D'Onofrio plays Orson Welles or something like that. And he's like sitting in a bar and like there's shadows going across his face, like with the light. So that's what
like-
That was Orson
that's
Welles
what
in a
Rod Serling-
nutshell.
yeah, with
Yeah,
the
right.
voiceover.
Until you watch that fantastic video where he's drunk trying to do a like a whiskey commercial or something like that.
Oh, it's champagne.
Oh, is that what it was?
The French do it best, and I can't
Like the
remember the
Chris
actual
Rock thing.
verbiage, but
I love champagne on the plane.
It's like the
Wells.
greatest.
I'm trying to
Exactly.
think how it goes. It's the French.
Is that your Wilhelm scream?
I should incorporate that into my next video.
Ah!
Aha!
Yes.
The French. They know more champagne. Ah!
With that said, this episode stars Dennis Weaver. We talked about this earlier. Dennis Weaver, of course, was he's a famous actor, but he is mostly he was well known for the Steven Spielberg TV movie, which was Duel, which I think is one of the great like action horror movies of all time.
Oh, it's
Such
brilliant.
a good movie.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know it's a TV movie. It did get a theatrical release like sometime after though.
I think his first Spielberg's first real movie was The Sugar Land Express or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this guy was in a lot of westerns too. He was also Alfred Hitchcock Presents. He's a very famous actor, like of his time and era, which respected and all that stuff. But this also has, of course, the well-known Harry Towns, which we talked about this last week, but he, of course, was in the fantastic Twilight Zone episode, "The Four of Us Are Dying." He played the shape-shifting guy.
the four of us are dying.
That's all.
The
Just-
Four of Us Are Dying. Champagne. The land of California.
I like the look of that episode. That's about all I can do.
Yeah.
Right. Harry Towns was actually in quite a bit of stuff. He was in a episode of Star Trek, The Return of the Eight Archons.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Well,
Nanu.
Nanu. And may the force be with you.
Ah!
Ah!
The force. French. Champagne.
French.
And
This
it's
also
made in
has
California.
Vintage. Take it.
Vintage. Fermented in the bottle.
oh man.
Ah!
Triv is now drinking her other beer.
Triv is now drunk.
This,
Drink
yeah,
her other beer.
she's drunk in her other beer. This also stars Wright King and Bernie Hamilton. But I looked up their credits. A lot of them are smaller actors. Actually, Bernie Hamilton was in Scream, Blackula Scream. So there you go.
What? Which one was he? Probably the dude.
The
That was
older
across-
guy. Who's across
Okay,
the-
Ragman.
Oh,
He was the
okay,
other
yeah,
guy. He was the
yeah.
other
No,
guy.
yeah. Well, the one across from him in the cell. I think I know what character he played in Scream Blackula Scream. I did that not last Halloween, but the Halloween before.
So with that said, today's episode that we're going to talk about is probably one of the more serious episodes that we're talked about in quite a while. This is based off of Charles Beaumont's story. I don't know if it's a story or this feels like a play that he maybe put together, but it's called Chamare. I think it's like a French word or Italian word. It just means shadow.
The French.
California. No, but I
Bless
think
Oh.
but I think it says it just means like it means like daydream or reverie. Oh, it's a German translation, but
Oh, okay. We're saying
Um,
it all wrong. It'd be terrible German accent, but
It's okay.
much more abrasive.
right. This is production code
Ah, the
170.
Germans.
Ah,
Not 40
Hey,
days
Benjamin.
dreams
Hey,
fermented
but
in
they-
a bottle.
they love them
Brought
David
to you by
Hasselhoff.
Vodafone.
The horse.
But this is production code 173 3657, air date May 5th, 1961. So yeah, it meant May, almost the end of the season. We're like what, 3 or 4 episodes from the end of the season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And yeah. So yeah, we have Mind in the Matter. Will the real Martians please stand up? And the Obsolete Man. At least 2 of those are bangers. I don't know about Mind in the Matter. I know someone who may or may not be coming on that's his favorite episode. So
What? Oh, one thing about
Anyways,
this too, it was
yeah.
it was redone in 86.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
came across that.
Peter Coyote. I love the way this episode opens up because it's like a play, shadow play. It's like the way a play opens up where we see Adam Grant, who's
Great
played by
lighting.
Dennis Weaver, and then it opens up with like I don't know if they had like the lights on a box or something like that, but it opens up. Adam Grant's just sitting there staring, and then everything's black, and then we see the lawyer, and then we see the jury and everything come in. And I love the kind of fade in with the blackness into
Yeah. Everything
is-
fades into existence.
yeah,
Which has a whole different meaning at the end, which I thought was,
absolutely.
Exactly.
was really cool.
yeah.
And that's one thing about this, like, just I know that the Twilight Zone does this well, but I feel like this
Mhm.
episode really cashes in on like the really interesting angles, the like you say, the lighting,
Yeah.
the way that it's edited. There's a lot of technical stuff that I love about this episode.
Yeah, there's lots of creative visual flair in this. Not just, I mean, there's lots of lighting, but that's like a start. That's like the opening and closing part. The lighting is like integral. But then there's the thing like when he's describing the hall and all that, how they superimpose it in there, but it doesn't just like bloop. It's creatively done, and it all
Oh,
it's
very.
a visually interesting episode.
And even some of the jail cell, like the ways things are framed, like in the jail or in the death row. I mean, it's amazing. It's actually very, very cool.
The jail, you're right. Like when it first goes, it pans over to the jail, and it's like panning through. It's like it almost doesn't make sense if you look at the way that as it's panning, the jail is set up. Just based on the view we're seeing, it does not make sense, but that kind of works into what's going on.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because the thing about I really liked about this episode, we'll kind of give a little bit. First of all, I don't remember this episode at all. I think I saw this once, so I don't remember it very well. I'm pretty sure, Jacob, you don't remember it either. Triv, do you remember this episode at all?
I don't think
Like-
I've ever seen this episode.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
pretty
I know
sure.
I've seen it. This episode is interesting for the simple fact that like it deals with dream logic. So it deals with like the idea so I know I'm kind of stumbling here, but there's a thing halfway through this episode where, or at least I don't know, quarter of the way up through the episode, where it goes from Dennis Weaver's character straight into like another story that's in this universe.
Mhm.
But I don't know if you guys have ever had dreams where
Yep.
you've had one dream and then you switched over to another dream.
Smash into
and
another one.
Yeah, it's like what just happened. It's like really, because I was sitting here watching this episode and I got really confused because you're watching Dennis
Thought it
Weaver
switched
and
to
we'll
another
talk.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was like, I was like, did my computer just switch to another episode? Is it infected by the Twilight Zone? Like, what the fuck is going on?
But it makes sense in the end because, like you were
Yeah.
alluding to, that happens. Only difference is when you're dreaming. Not to say that's what's going on here to spoil anything, but when you're dreaming, it seems normal. But then,
Yeah.
your conscious self would be like, "What the fuck?"
But yeah, like the last week's episode, it's an interesting concept because we talked about with the silence how the wife is never seen. Well, this episode taking place in the dream, depending on how you look at it, we never see like the outside world, so we never see him wake up. We just are assuming that he's dreaming, and I think that's a very toned down way of doing things, because we've seen episodes in the series like Trouble Templeton, where it's just like they're doing everything and they're throwing it in here, and here we're told that this is a dream, but we're not shown. We're just kind of assuming that's what's happening. And I really like that about these types of episodes, when they're focused and when they have a purpose, it really works. And I don't know. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. But the episode opens up with Adam Grant. Like I said, he's being tried for murder. He freaks the fuck out. He's sweating like crazy. He's like, I've been through this all before. I can't do this again. And it'd be crazy if like your dreams are so vivid that you can imagine yourself being in an electrical chair and stuff like that, or electric chair. But it basically is he's trying to get his lawyers and the lawyers to listen to him, and that plays in later on. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, this is kind of where the opening narration happens, which is apparently Rod Serling's in the on the stand.
I like how they
Oh.
did that too, by the way.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
not like they do a lot of
Like a whip zoom
whip
or,
zooms
or whip. Yeah. Something
where
like
you could tell there's a cut there. This wasn't. They like shot him being carried out of the courtroom, and then it kept panning over, and Rod Serling sitting there on the stand or whatever. I thought it was pretty cool. But anyway, what Mr. Serling said, Hot Rod said, Adam Grant, a nondescript kind of man, found guilty of murder and sentenced to the electric chair. Like every other criminal caught in the wheels of justice, he's scared right down to the marrow in his bones. But it isn't the prison that scares him, the long, silent nights of waiting, the slow walk to the little room, or even death itself. It's something else that holds Adam Grant in the hot, sweaty grip of fear. Something worse than any punishment this world has to offer. Something found only in the Twilight Zone.
Good times.
Fear.
Sweaty. Yeah, this
Oof.
episode's very sweaty. It's
He
the
was sweating
sweatiest
like a
episode.
motherfucker when he got up.
Yeah.
I
He
know.
got up. I was like, God damn, what just happened? He's like that Jordan Peele. meme you see where he's sweating.
He's
Like,
like,
it was kinda ridiculous.
he's like, what's his face from Airplane as he's trying to land.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's trying
but I gotta ask you guys about this first segment before Rod Serling starts talking. Like, actually, the interesting about is there actually an act break in this episode? I forget.
Yeah, there is.
Is there? Okay, it almost seemed like there
It
wasn't
starts at
gonna be one.
about, I think, like 18 minutes in. Roughly.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's really far in. But
Yeah.
It's
like
when they
when you
go to call.
What's it?
I don't remember. That's weird. This
Yeah,
is the
I
first
think
episode
I
I
forgot to
ever
write it
watched on
down.
my phone.
It's when they're
driving-
with
he's
the
driving home, he's like,
district attorney. It's when they're at the district attorney. It's like they go to check the oven because he's told.
yeah. Okay.
Oh, the roast.
Yeah,
It's
which
a freaking roast, man.
but I gotta ask you guys about this opening thing. Like, did you go like when you're watching this and he's like, he says, he can't do this again. He doesn't want to die again. Did you think this was gonna be like all about like dream logic and like
I thought it was gonna be like a
what do you guys think
Groundhog
was gonna
Day.
happen? What's up?
That was gonna be like a Groundhog Day thing.
You thought so?
Yeah, because
I mean, technically it is. I mean, it's kind of
when
a
he
groundhog.
Yeah, but I didn't know it was gonna be like a dream thing until he. I mean, he was saying this is all a dream, but I mean, I thought maybe it was metaphorical. I didn't know it was literally he was saying, "No, this is a dream." I thought like, oh, every time he dies, he wakes back up and repeats the day or something along those lines.
That would have been interesting if it was a Groundhog Day scenario. If you think about it,
Well, especially considering the
is.
time of year.
yeah, true. And
Yeah.
on top of that, can you imagine if it was a Groundhog Day scenario where he kept getting electrocuted every day?
Oh,
How
dude.
terrifying that would be. I mean, it's bad enough like Phil Connors is like stuck in a really crappy town, but at least he gets to like eat all he wants and have the sex he wants and stuff like that and steal money. But this guy's in a prison with a guy named Jiggs, which is like the greatest name ever. I love like prison names in like the Green Mile or Shawshank Redemption or these like prison where like Jiggs or Jagger or Jugger or whatever. It's like great
Mr.
names.
Jangle,
Red.
Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Could you
Uh,
imagine if our
champagne.
justice system moved anywhere near this fast?
Well, that's like a great line in the episode. He talks about
Yeah.
that, but most of this episode before we switch over to the DA and the young guy who's like the lawyer or something like that. Most of this stuff is like I love the scene, but we'll talk about it in a second. But this character Adam Grant is basically in this, what's it called, death row or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's a guy who's, like,
Green
crazy.
Mile.
The Green Mile, exactly. There's like a crazy drunk guy, and there's like another guy, and then there's Jiggs, who's played by William Edmonson, and it's kind of like a cool kind of I don't know area place where it's just like these stereotypical characters that you would see as Dennis Weaver talks about.
Somebody on the harmonica.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys on a
exactly.
harmonica and stuff like that. And basically what ends up happening is we hear kind of his story about what happens with the ideas of like the dream logic, and it repeats itself, and everybody is in different scenarios when he wakes up and he can like change it, which, you know, there's the whole lucid dreaming thing where there's people who can actually change the dream as they sleep, which, you know, most people can't, but there's always that idea of lucid dreaming. But there's a shot in this episode where he's explaining about his like walk up to the electric chair, and you see his face to the side, and superimposed to his like left or right is the electric chair. Do you guys see that shot?
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I like when they do that kind of stuff because it makes it like a unique kind of cool shot for a TV series or a movie. It just kind of gives
especially
you
then.
So visually stimulating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it allows to kind of get into the mind of a character. It allows you to see the visual aspect of it. But like I said, most of this is just him explaining what the hell's going on, which is actually a cool kind of storytelling aspect, because you have a lot of times it's too much info being dumped out to the audience, and here we're just kind of giving a little bit of visuals, we're giving a little bit of like narration. But what do you guys think about that kind of stuff, like what was going on?
Well, the way he describes, like, he's trying to make people understand, like, and obviously in dreams, like you said, you know, your subconscious mind doesn't think about like all the logistics that, you know, conscious you would be aware of. And he's like, I was convicted and sentenced in the same day. That doesn't happen. You know, all of these people are stereotypes. Oh, this guy reminded me of this dude I knew as a kid or whatever. All of these mishmashy things that, you know, collaborate in to make any kind of a dream. It's a for the, and I don't know like the study of dreams and stuff where it was at in the 60s, but there's so much insightful stuff when it comes to that, and kind of like the psychological backing of all of that stuff is just, it's awesome. It is, I love it. It's so cool.
This is a better version.
I knew you were going to go. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for you to go there. But no, like we talked about, he did like Static, the Howling Man. Like he gets into the souls of human beings and the kind of the nature of how we react to things and how we view things as the world, and that's what's happening here. It's interesting because I don't know. Do you think that the story in the 24 minutes had enough meat to it, or I mean, what do you guys think?
A lot like last week's episode. I think they did good with what they had, and it got its point across. Could they have expanded upon it? Sure, but I think that they did what they were the story they were trying to tell. I think it was just right. They did a really good. It moved really. It was a snappy episode.
Yeah.
It moved along. It was never had any downtime. I mean, you could always expand upon something good like that if you do it correctly. But also, I mean, who knows? Maybe if you expanded on it, it would kind of take away from it.
Yeah.
I was cool with it being 24 minutes.
This is, like I say, I don't remember seeing this before, but this is rocketed up there as one of my favorite episodes. Like just everything about it, the kind of psychological elements, the way that it plays out, it's got a little bit of suspense to it. I mean, you kind of know, being it's a Twilight Zone episode, you kind of know where it's headed at the end. Like, you know, at least traditionally, but just there was so much about it that I really loved. Like I would go back and watch this episode multiple times without even a second thought.
Well, that's kind of why I talk about The Obsolete Man so much. I know, I don't know if Jacob, if you remember that episode at all very well, but
the name's
the
familiar,
obsolete,
but I can't remember anything.
Yeah, that's the one with I think it was the last episode that what was his name? The guy who was
Burgess
in
Meredith?
Burgess Meredith.
No, he has another one after.
Oh, he
this.
does.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, it's
Print
like
Demon.
his most famous of the
Print Devil.
okay. But it's like that episode where the ending is not really a twist, but it's the idea of like how it represents what the story's trying to play, because the ending of this episode, and we'll talk about it, is so jarring that I was actually confused about what was going on until you think about it. But it's like where we're going to talk about next, where he's talking, the Adam character is talking about something, and all of a sudden it's like a jarring cut to a lady cooking like is it like a pork chop or something like that?
It's a set of steaks. So what it is, and I think I could be mistaken on this. I should remember because we just watched it, but like he's talking about the process of what leads him to the electric chair.
Oh, yeah.
And then the
right,
power
right.
snaps on, and just as
Mhm.
it snaps on,
They
you
open
see the oven
oven.
open and it rattles.
Right. And that's what's crazy, because I started to wonder, and this is just my thinking, is this, like we've talked about, me and Jacob were talking about just a few minutes ago, the nature of dreams and stuff like that. You could be dreaming one thing and be dreaming another thing. So I was so confused. Like I said, we'll talk about this in the ending. I was so confused by why they made the decision to what they did until I started thinking about it. Because I'm like, it flips over to this other story, which you never truly honestly ever see in the Twilight Zone, where, I mean, you'll see like them go to different set pieces and stuff like that, but you'll never see a completely different type of story.
Smash cut.
Yeah,
That is
it was
literally a
so
smash cut.
jarring.
The
But like I
only
said,
thing
that's
that I had issue with, considering what we find out is going on, which we find out fairly early. It's more of a convincing us that that's what's going on.
yeah.
But is that I want to say, I could be wrong. I'm not a dream expert, but I'm interested in them. I don't think you dream about you're always included in your dreams.
Mhm.
Am I incorrect in that? In some way, form, fashion. You are.
Yeah, it's from like a third person or first person point of view type of thing.
Yeah.
Most
And
of the time.
he references this moment. Like he did see it, but aren't you always included? Like you're there, like even if people don't see it, but we never get any of that. I don't know, maybe that's what was going on, but like he is not a part of that. It's like a totally
No.
different scene that he's or thing that's happening that he's not even a part of, but he knows about
Yeah.
it. So I don't know. I mean, that's nitpicking.
Well, maybe it's a God's eye kind of a deal.
I guess, but do dreams work that way? Because like
I have no
we
idea.
don't inherently view the world that way. So
No, it's true.
I feel like dreams are very, carnal in that way. And I don't know. Just a thought.
No, it's a very
Jacob,
good
you're
thought.
thinking
And
again,
something.
man. You can't think about these types of things.
Fucking dang it.
It was the 1960s, man. No, yeah, I mean, that's a good point, because every dream I've ever had, I've been involved with, for better or worse. But
Even if you're not you,
yeah,
like visibly, I think we usually are. But I mean, I think that you could probably have a dream where, oh, it was a tiger or something like that, whatever. But it's you. But in this one, he was not there within that room.
maybe it was a steak. You don't know.
For the roast.
The roast, yeah.
He was the really good bottle of gin.
Yeah.
Right,
You're
right.
drinking, man.
I mean, he could have been like Paul Carson or something like that, because the Paul Carson comes in like really drunk. He comes in like Trev after like 2 beers, or no, I'm kidding.
Beer.
But what was said? That's another thing. What was said to his lawyer? Because that's supposed to be his lawyer, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
What was said to his lawyer
that's
made
the thing.
the lawyer believe it? I mean,
Maybe
it couldn't have been that
maybe
insane rant on his way out.
well, that's true. Maybe it's the idea like that once it goes back to like lucid dreaming, that
That's just
Adam
where it
Grant's
starts.
character like made him like believe it. It's not really explained, and
Yeah,
I think
that's
of this
just where
where
his
like
dream starts.
yeah, I
This
think of it
history
like a
that he
season,
believes in.
right? I think of it like a season 4 episode. They would have gotten a little more deeper into that kind of logic, but I think sometimes the problem with this, like 24-minute episodes is you can't get into like too much detail, or you
Where was the lawyer's roast moment? His steak moment. That's what these are the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, the woman's like, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm going to bed. I'm like, eat the fucking steak. Give me the steak. I'll eat it. Fuck. That
Yeah,
steak
when he
looked
opened
good.
that thing, he said, "There's a steak in there. Check it." He opened it and it came out. I was like, "Holy shit! I know stuff was bigger back in the day, but that's a big fucking steak."
I know, right?
Oh yeah,
But yeah,
go ahead.
there's a whole big kind of back and forth about Carson is like, I believe this guy. I think he's crazy. We need to give him a stay of execution. What's interesting is these two guys never leave the house. They're always at the house through the entire episode. So oh no, I'm sorry. Henry Ritchie does go to talk to Grant. But Carson just kind of disappears, which is interesting. I don't know how.
Well, I'm trying to think
look
of
at
what there is. I wish I could remember. There was a TV show or a movie where the lady, like the people in there only exist when she's there. Otherwise, they don't exist. And it's a little girl, and she's like, I disappear when you're gone. And I wish I could remember what it was. I thought it was a movie, but I'm drawing a blank as to what it is. But it's kind of like that when he doesn't think
Okay.
about them. or
Mhm.
doesn't have the need for them, they disappear. Right?
Is it the little boy and
I know what you're talking
the
about.
he takes him to the cornfield?
No, not well. They might, but not in this case.
Is it
I think I know
Children of
what
the
you're
Corn?
talking about. That seems really familiar.
Yeah, I like. Oh God, I wish I could
I-
remember what it was.
Is it
Oh,
Spotless Mind?
Eternal Sunshine.
No,
Eternal
it
Sunshine
wasn't
of the
Eternal,
Spotless Mind. It's not that, but
but it's
it's
something like that. It's something
yeah,
that's
it's
kind of
like where it's in a
cerebral and
dream. Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember.
You know who's in it, by any chance?
I can't remember who the hell's in it. I just she's got two kids. It's a set of kids. Is it? It's not.
Is it Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
No, I'm pretty sure it's not that. It's not. It's not the others because that
Is it
wouldn't make
WandaVision?
sense. It's something like that. I mean, it's kind of like WandaVision, but it's not WandaVision. It's that same feel, though. God damn it! What is it?
See, when you
Dreamscape.
drink 2 beers, Triv, you forget everything. This is
Oh,
how that
piss
works.
off! My head goes
Uh,
empty when I drink too
Um,
many beers.
Dreamscape with Dennis Quaid.
Exactly.
But I mean, yeah. So stakes. Woman goes to bed. You know, because you can't have too much women in these Twilight Zone episodes. They have to either go to bed or not exist, or be accused of hussing, that type of thing.
She better
So
be cooking. That's all I know.
Well, the reason that she's reason that she's saying that is because like the press guy comes in and he's all like, it's we're all gonna die at midnight and all this kind of stuff. So there's she's just like, okay, you know what? I'm done. You handle this shit. I'm out of here, bitches.
Sick and tired of your drunk friends showing the fuck up in the middle of the night.
no, drinking us out of a house and home. That was a 1925 Scotch, and he's drinking
Basically,
it
yeah.
like it's water. I do actually have to ask you guys, what do you guys think of Jigs? He's like a great character. Like for the amount of time he's in it, he's just like he almost seems like his conscience a little bit. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Don't make you crazy.
He provided a good kind of like us like trying to understand what's going on. It's like you kind of go, yeah, right. Yeah, you're totally, it's that kind of skeptical mindset of, okay, look, you're under a lot of pressure. You're clearly a little bit off the chain. Just tell him that so you can get out of here. Like, he's trying to, yeah.
In that essence, like the lawyer is able to convince the DA to go see Adam Grant at the prison cell at the death row Green Mile. And Adam Grant, actually, we go back to the scene with Jigs and Adam Grant and the crazy guy and whatever and whatnot. Grant's like, I'm just waiting for him to come. I'm waiting for the DA.
That's what she
I wonder
said.
who's going to be this time. And the DA shows up and he tries to convince him that he's not crazy, that this is a dream. And the Henry, the DA, is like, I'm going to make sure you fry. And yeah, that's kind of where that lies. And I think that's, he's also like, I can make you have a bigger steak, a roast at home. And that's when
I said, check your stove or check the oven.
He's like, I can make you have all the women's. I am the precursor to what's his face from A World of His Own. He can create elephants. I can create pot roast. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's when Grant runs home, and apparently Carson's still just sitting there drunk, just waiting. They run up to the oven and open it. It's a pot roast, and that's the act break. 18 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
Roast.
I gotta ask you guys, being that it's 18 minutes in and it's only 24-minute episode.
It may not be 18, but it's definitely after the halfway point.
Yeah, you know how right. But we complain a lot of times about how like the not evenly paced Twilight Zone can be when it comes to the act breaks and how the story plays out. The fact that the episode ran so long before the act break, did that bother you guys at all, or did you feel like it was justified and earned for what it was doing?
It didn't feel long to me. Like the whole thing felt
snappy.
Yeah, it went fast. Like it didn't feel like 24 minutes across the board.
Yeah, I thought it was. I didn't have a problem with it. I didn't even notice it until you said something. I was like, oh yeah, I guess it didn't conventional act break.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so much that needs to be said about this dream world, and it's done in such a quick fashion. But like I was just saying a couple seconds ago, if an episode is written properly and well, you can structure a whole entire thing about whatever and make it make sense and still be only 24 minutes because you have to have like the 12 minutes of commercials and stuff like that. I don't know. I just find that interesting because it's interesting how you can structure a way. It just shows you, even though Charles Beaumont has written some not so great episodes, it just shows you like if there's something that has a lot of punch to it, it works properly. But basically we switch between the two narratives, and Carson brings up the whole idea of like, why is it always midnight when the electrocution happens? Doesn't that seem kind of odd and seem kind of played, I guess you could say. I don't know if that's the right word, but and of course Grant has a priest come in as they do, and it's like everything about this episode and what's happening is stereotypes of prison movies, as he says, which I thought was kind of fascinating, kind of fun for an episode. But the priest comes in, he's like, I think I've seen you before. I know you. You're the priest that died when I was 10 years old. Which it brings in a whole nother can of worms. Like he remembers people from when he was 10 years old now. Like it brings up the whole idea of like, how much do you really store in the back of your mind when you as you're growing up that you forget about, and then when your dreams come out, it's like stuff starts coming out of the memory bank.
Well, look at like smells, like there's that smell that reminds you of like your grandma's place who died when you were young. There's all of that stuff, and those memories, like things trigger other things.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of like Dreamcatcher and the cocaine there when he was hurt, and they go into the mind and have to hide all the memories.
Shit demons, man. Shit weasels.
Shit demons.
Shit weasels.
Duddits. That movie was terrible. That book was terrible.
The movie was terrible, but I actually really enjoyed the mind as a warehouse, like as a library. I thought that was really cool.
What if the electric chair is the mind or is the library?
Well, that's a very it's a deep philosophical question that we shall not be pursuing at this time.
Maybe Wes Craven got his idea for Shocker through this episode.
Oh God.
That would have made it so much better if he was like electric bad guy or something.
It's electric. Ah! Electricity.
French electricity.
Jacker fermented in his brain.
I do think it's a nice I do think it's a nice touch that they cut his pant leg open, which I think is something they actually did, or at least it may be like kind of a stereotype or whatever, but stereotrope.
Stereo sound.
Yeah, stereoscopic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's in 3D, people. But they cut his leg open because I think that's where they attach like cables when they were hooking you guys.
Pants leg open, not just his leg.
Well, no, they don't want to like have his pants catch fire.
I know,
because then they can't say liar can't pants on fire.
Yeah, it's kind of like with the bicyclists.
They don't like the electrical diodes.
It's a grounding thing, I think. Actually, they ground it to the leg that touches
like
the ground.
That held him in there, and then like all of it comes from here.
Well, it does, but I think they still have to ground it somehow. I think I don't know. It's one of those things where you had like maybe it's a trope. They're trying to throw a trope in there. Cut his pant leg open. He's gonna go bicycling.
He'd be grounded to his ass.
There's a metal pole.
Exactly right. But what's really, really interesting about this whole area, this whole piece of this episode is the DA calls for a stay of execution, and of course Grant is walked by 18 prison guards. Apparently he has 18 prison guards in his dream state or whatever towards the electric chair, but we don't see anything. As soon as they call the DA, it goes and cuts to black, and as we see, it actually cuts to the same scene from the beginning of the episode, but the characters and the people in the courtroom are different versions of people he knows. So, for instance, Jiggs is the
he's the judge.
The judge.
But that was a great touch.
That was
right.
Cool. Well, no,
Carson
and the scene goes to black as soon as the switch is flipped.
Well, things start disappearing. The switch is flipped and the clock disappears. something else in the foreground disappears, and then like it's like I think it goes like as things go dong dong dong, and then it's just gone.
Mhm.
Well,
The
yeah,
clock was
'cause-
cool too.
It was, yeah. Everything about that, what they're doing this episode is really cool. It's placed in specific ways to kind of throw out, because like a lot of the set pieces, a lot of the sets in this episode have a very dreamlike feel to it. Like the prison feels like, it doesn't feel like a real prison cell or a death row prison. It feels like something you would watch on TV. It's like watching that. I always go back to the It's a Good Life from the Twilight Zone movie, where nothing feels in place. Everything feels like something you would watch on TV or watch a movie. It feels like a set, which is really interesting. And that's what the courtroom feels like, a set. If nothing feels real. But what I like is, once again, with the whole dream logic thing, you go to sleep and you're right back in the scenario, and he's right back in it. So we never see the execution, because that's probably when he wakes up screaming, and he goes back to sleep, and he's right back in the situation. He's able to, there's different people in different spots. And I think that's a great way to end it, because like I said, I don't know if you guys feel the same way. I was really confused by what was going on until you really think about it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So I don't know how you guys feel about that.
I felt like I had a pretty decent grip on it, but I was like waiting and watching for all of that stuff to fall.
Did you guys think that the like the stay of execution would like kept him in the dream longer, or did you think that was just the kind of the end point?
Well, it's like falling, like the falling dream, like you never land. I think, your brain, because he's to this point every single time, if he is dreaming, he's dreaming the same over and over and over again. And it's going to take something significant to break that.
Right.
So
What's interesting is that if he's dreaming, when he dies in the dream, he says he wakes up screaming. So there's like a whole nother aspect to this guy's life. There's a whole nother world, like the real world, and we never see any of that.
no.
I think that's cool. So I guess like when it restarts, that's like the next night. So I'm really curious, who is this guy in real life?
I was wondering that too, like, if he's dealing with that night after night after night after night. I mean, as we, like you say, it is kind of a perchance to dream type scenario done in a different way. But it does make you wonder, like, if he has a wife and kids, or if he's in an institution, or if where these dreams have driven him to, being that he has the same dream every night and he seems desperate.
Is he waking up, or is he just restarting it? Is it Groundhog Day in dream form? Like
Is he in a coma or something? Yeah.
But he does say he says he
coma.
wakes up, so I'm assuming he wakes up.
Well, is by waking up, like, what is waking up in his terms? Waking up might be the dream resetting.
Yeah.
Maybe he wakes up in the I don't know, the hospital room, and he's getting ready to board an airplane. The airplane catches on fire and breaks into pieces. Maybe this is a precursor to Don't Worry, Darlings.
Very
I don't
possibly.
Fucking
Still haven't seen
shitty
that.
ass. Yeah.
I guess what
Don't watch that movie.
from the trailer though.
It's so stupid. But that's but that's the end of the episode. Of course, they show a commercial of what's that?
No, it's just dumb.
But they end the episode with of course Orson Welles showing off champagne drunkenly. That's how the episode ends. Or at least that's the director's cut that I got. I don't know if you guys watched that.
I didn't see that one. I think it would have been better had I seen that one. All I got was the softest taste.
Right. But yeah, so that's the season. That's Shadow Play. Pretty well done episode. So with that said, on the episode, what do you guys think overall? And do you guys have anything to add to it before we get into the closing narration?
I personally really enjoyed this episode, and like, being it was one of those random first watches that I normally don't get. Like I said before, I really, really enjoyed this, and it'll be one that I definitely seek out again. I just there's a lot to it that I I think would enjoy rewatching.
I really like this episode. It feels like Twilight Zone, but it doesn't, like you alluded to in the beginning, when I alluded to, you outright said, it doesn't have a traditional Twilight Zone ending. Ironic twist of fate. It tells you what's going to happen from like almost not quite the beginning. It says what's going to happen, and that's what happens. Like there's no surprise. I guess the surprise is that, oh, I guess it was a dream. and it just proves that what he was saying all along was right, was true. But I really liked it. I thought it was really well done. I love the visual aspect of this episode.
Oh yeah.
Like they did a lot of creative things with lighting, and as we mentioned, with like with superimposing things, and with him talking about the hallway and the smash cut to the oven, and just all that stuff was really well done. And I love how it had callbacks to, like, in the beginning, how it just faded. I thought that was more of an artistic thing in the beginning of how they were trying to show he was like in his own little world, and then all this stuff kind of faded into his existence, which is what it was, but literally that's what it was doing. And I like in the end how everything fades out and it fades back in the same way, and you're like, oh, I get it now. He's like entering the dream. So I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed this episode. That was really good. I mean, is it my favorite episode ever? No, but it's a very creative episode. I'm going to be interested to see where we place it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fairly honest, it's like The Invaders. It's very simple. It doesn't have a lot of, big, set piece moments, but the stuff that it uses effectively. So
I am surprised that I don't remember anything about it. Like, I don't remember nothing. Like you guys said, you didn't either. And I think that comes down to the ending, because had this had like a banger ending, like if it had some type of revelation that was like, oh shit, in plain sight, all alone, that kind of thing, I think this would be a much more remembered episode around, across the board. Because you're right, it does have one of those. I still like The Invaders more, but it does still have. It has one of those real solid episodes as it goes. It parses out the information, moves at a real snappy pace, and it's just that this one, when you get to the end, instead of having that oh shit moment, you just kind of he was telling the truth. It's not bad.
It's weird. Yeah, it's a revelation in itself, kind of, because he is, as you said, it's a straight shooting episode. It doesn't. Maybe it's not anything other than what it was. Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
The twist is there is no twist. The twist is we've been telling you all along, and the whole time by this point, 50 something episodes or 50 episodes into this show, the audience, including ourselves, is looking for the angle, and there is no angle. Well, there is, but we told you what the angle was. Like a few minutes in, we explained to you this is what's going on, and you didn't believe it because you're used to there being something in the end. You got to the end, you found out, oh shit, that was it.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe that's
if you look at like the top 10 episodes, and this includes The Silence, I think what makes this episode work is it has a particular purpose with this narrative, and it never deviates from that narrative.
Yeah,
it has a particular set of skills, and it uses those skills to full effect. It's a dream story, and it uses it, kind of like the electric chairs, like Freddy, Freddy from Friday the 13th, or not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh my god, you did not just cut that out.
I will not cut that out.
Leave that
make
in
myself
there.
look like an idiot.
You will get a comment.
You will get multiple.
You know
comments.
what? At least someone will comment. So.
Oof.
But no, like I think this is a top tier episode that really just works on all fronts. So
works like Luke Skywalker in Star Trek. It works great.
Yeah, and his help with Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, and Gandalf when he came in to help with the
the TARDIS.
Yeah, exactly. And then Harry Potter rides off into the sunset. And
exactly.
With the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we're going way off there now.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But with that said, you guys have anything you want to add more? Was there any other trivia at all?
Nothing of note, really. I would like to add, and Jake mentioned this a little bit, but just like the framing of stuff, like the way that they framed up Jiggs's face in a lot of stuff, like it was through a couple sets of bars, and he was framed perfectly. And regarded, you would want him, like you wouldn't put him half on one side of the bar and half on the other, but just like through multiple sets of bars, it was really well done. There was just so much framing that was great. There's another transition, like you talk about the like kind of smash cut between the electric chair and the stakes. There was another one that was done with feet. There was just different bits like that were just technically I loved this episode. It had a lot of those.
To see the 80s one.
Yeah, no, agreed.
On YouTube.
Yeah, I guess the music is the same for the music from 22. So that's about the only
Makes
trivia.
Sense.
Yeah. So with that said, Jacob, let's do the closing narration.
Oh, yeah. I've definitely got that pulled up right here.
Yeah.
Okay. We know that a dream can be real, but whoever thought that reality could be a dream? We exist, of course, but how? In what way? As we believe, as flesh and blood human beings, or are we simply parts of someone's feverish, complicated nightmare? Think about it, and then ask yourself, do you live here, in this country, in this world, or do you live instead in the Twilight Zone?
I live on a 2-day plane.
You live in 2-day plane?
You
2-day
live on
plane.
2-day plane?
2D.
You said 2-day.
I know. I've been up. I've been
she's
up
gone
since
from
5
2
this
to
morning.
3.
I'm free. I'm kind of.
That's 6 beers.
Yeah, and I'm tired.
No, actually, I think I brought it up earlier, but a little bit of this reminds me, like I said, of Vanilla Sky near the end when it's revealed that Kurt Russell is not real, and this is all part of like a possible like fantasy.
Well, hell, this was on one of the when Tom Cruise is in Times Square. It appears on one of the screens.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, according to trivia, at least.
Well, maybe this
Really?
maybe this is a kind of inspiration
I could see it.
to open your eyes
Oh, I
or
didn't know
something.
that. That is
But
pretty cool.
Man, that is
yeah.
cool.
So, with that said, that's gonna do it for season 2, episode 26, which is called Shadow Play, which I think we all agree is a pretty banger episode. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So with that said, let's head to the Twilight Zone ranking list, the greatest list known to man. You know, every time we talk about it, repeats itself. So there you go. I will start. Is this a top 10 episode?
For
I
me
think this is-
personally, I think
this
it
is
is
a top 5, but that's me.
top 5. Wow.
You know,
But that's just me. Like I would put it top
No,
5,
no,
but-
I
looking at
I'm
our
in.
top 10. Yeah, I didn't think. I was sitting there. I was like, yeah, I really like this episode. I don't know if
I
it'd be
could put
top
this
10.
at number 2.
No.
Actually, I could put this above. If it were me, I put this above like Purple Testament, Stop at Willoughby, somewhere around there. But like
Really?
I said, it just all depends where you guys would.
I know it's definitely for me better than like I enjoyed this one. The silence was good, but I personally definitely preferred this to that. It gets weird though because I love A World of His Own and Nick of Time, and above that you get to those episodes that are really like the poignant ones that are like have a lot to say. But I think this one has not necessarily a lot to say, but I think it is still one of those episodes that is it hits you when you watch it.
Well, I
like
think
this more than Nick of Time, and
I
I
will
like
say-
everything more than Nightmare as a Child. But I know it has relevance.
Yeah.
I didn't like it more than Purple Testament. Purple Testament was solid as shit, but
Maybe between Purple Testament and Nightmare as a Child.
I mean, I could do that, or we could.
Well, I
know
will
you
say
said
this is
you liked it. You thought it was a little bit higher or lower.
yeah. This is a number 4 on Pace Magazine, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Pace Magazine said.
Hey, it's above Per Chance to Dream. That's all that matters, right?
And to back, you're getting Perchance to Dream down to this over the course of 2 episodes.
Yeah, but they have it at number 9. So
Well, we don't though.
Jesus Christ! Come on, you guys got to even admit number 9.
That's a little. That's pretty high, and like I didn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have gone that route. But hey,
I think we need to do a watch party of Perchance to Dream.
with tons and tons of alcohol.
Perchance to Dream.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
A derisive episode, fermented and staying
Jacob-
put in Jacob's head.
Jacob will be the physician, and I'll be the guy that jumps out the window, and Trip will be the cat lady.
All right. Woohoo.
Or Jacob could be
No, I'll
the
be the guy
cat
that jumps
lady. I
out
don't
the
know.
fucking window.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, do you think this is better than Purple Testament? Do you think it's better than Nightmare as a Child? Do you? I mean, if you guys want to put it lower, I mean, whatever. I just was thinking like,
I don't think it's better than Purple Testament. But I really like Purple Testament. But I do think it's better than Nightmare as a Child. I think Nightmare as a Child have more to say. But at some point, I got to say, you know what? This is the entertainment medium. Yes, I appreciate for what it had to say and how it said it. And did a great job doing it, especially for the time. At some point, I got to say, okay, you can only rest on that laurel for so long. If something's more
Right.
entertaining
Yeah.
than that, I gotta say it's more entertaining.
Oh, absolutely.
It may not have as
Absolutely.
much to say, but man, they did a lot of really interesting, cool. This was Twilight Zone. I feel like the
Yeah.
middle section of season 2 was really
And then we start banging it up.
Yeah.
And then here at the end, they're just like pow, pow, pow. They're comeback
Agreed.
kid.
Agreed.
I like Stop at Willoughby. That's the train one, right? Where he jumps
Yeah.
off the train.
Yeah.
But I think this is better because I just think overall, like what they're capable of doing
I think it's
using
better
the
than
dream
Stop at
launch.
Willoughby too, but I don't think it's better than. I think Purple Testament is better than Stop at Willoughby.
Yeah, true. Actually, it was a stop. Were you on the Stop at Willoughby episode, or is that before Jacob?
Yeah,
I
it
can't
was.
remember.
That's season 2, isn't it?
Is it? No, I think it's season 1.
Oh, it's
I don't think it was in the first 10 episodes though.
No, it's later on. It's on down there. I mean,
Like I honestly, we've done so many episodes with Jacob now that I can't remember where you start. I can't remember where you started.
The only
anymore.
ones I didn't see was 16 millimeter. Well, with you guys, I saw them now, but the only ones I wasn't part of was 16 millimeter Shrine, Walking Distance, the
Denton on
Burgess
Doomsday.
Meredith, yeah, Denton on Doomsday, the Burgess Meredith, All
Time
Time
Enough
in the
at
World,
Last.
Time Enough at Last, yeah,
Perchance.
Perchance to Dream, and there were 5 more. The
Oh,
Nazi
so you
sub
came on
one.
after you were on The Lonely, but you came on after Judgment Night. I remember Judgment Night,
Yeah,
and I remember
Judgment Night.
that's
Yeah,
when we asked
one.
you to come on. Yeah.
Because I was on
Yeah.
The Lonely, which was number 8, I think.
Where is
7.
everybody?
Yeah, there's one more.
God,
Whatever
it's
the
been-
one with the Nazi sub, I think we already said that one.
Yeah, Judgment
Yeah.
Night.
Judgment Night, yeah.
Probably The Last Flight and Escape Clause.
Escape Clause, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the other one I wasn't on. But yeah, everything from 11 on, I essentially missed is either 9 or 10 episodes that I'm not a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird
'Cause it
going
took
back
me-
to see that.
It wasn't until we were like at number 20 when I finally watched them all.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I'd be all right putting it below Purple Testament and putting it above Nightmare as a Child. I mean, it all depends on what you guys want to do.
That's where it
Absolutely.
sits
Like I
for
said,
me. But I mean, this is
Yeah, I mean, I put this above Stop at Willoughby, but like I said, it's neither here or there. It's a top tier episode either way.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I would put it above Willoughby, but yeah, Purple Testament is because of the impact of what it does and how personal of a story it was for Serling.
and the performances.
Yeah, agreed.
So good.
Yeah, it does fall under that. I would say between Purple Testament and Nightmare as a Child.
The number 7.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Which I didn't
Yeah.
expect it to be there with, honestly. Even after watching it,
I,
I really liked it, but I was like, 7?
I kept hearing I'd watched several videos talking about how impactful this episode is, and
Oh, it totally is.
And I hate to say it, but when comparing it to everything else, I think if it had, I didn't dislike the ending. I just think if it had more of a banger revelation ending, this would be an episode you hear in the same,
Same breath.
as like Eye of the Beholder, the Invaders, and Monsters and stuff like that. I think it would have been a contender with that kind of ending. Whereas the ending's a big part of a story, but if it had a more impactful, if you will, ending, I think it could have been up there in the top 1, 2, 3, or in the top 5.
Mhm.
Definitely.
yeah, it's interesting when you look at like the top. At least you look at the top 3 episodes. They have an overall complete package of a story. They have the great story. They have the great, characters outside of the annoying kid with the popsicle and Monsters on Maple Street. But they have great character development, and then they have that banger of an ending where you're just like, what? You're doing like the holy shit, doing the fucking explosion of the brain, the Tim and Eric explosion thing. But yeah, it's good stuff. So yeah, I think that's a good place. So
Yeah.
with that said, new number 7 is going to be Shadow Play. We've had 2 top 10 episodes in two top 10 episodes in the last couple weeks, but Silence is no longer top 10, so that doesn't count anymore. So yeah, new number 7, Shadow Play. Number 62, or number 1 is still Eye of the Beholder. 62 is The Trouble with Templeton. The next episode, hopefully we'll have a guest on for that, who's a recurring guest. That of course is season 2, episode 27, which is called The Mind and the Matter. Apparently this is a much more comedic episode than what we've had, so maybe we'll see what happens. But it's directed by Buzz Kulik, written by Rod Serling, stars Shelley Berman and Jack Grinnage. I don't know any of these guys. Gene Wood. There's a wood in the episode. S-
I'll allow
but-
it.
I'll allow it. But but with that said, we're literally 3 episodes from the end of season 2. The next 2 Judy says yes. But the next 2 episodes after that are, of course, one of Trev's favorite episodes, which is the Real
hell
Martian,
yeah.
Please Stand Up. And then, of course, the one I've been championing as a top 5 episode forever, which, of course, it will be the Obsolete Man. So we're close. We're close to the Obsolete Man, which I'm excited for. So
I just want to say
anyways,
that next week's episode has the main character's name is Archibald Beechcroft.
Nice. That's a mouthful and a half.
so we got
I'm not
Percival
I just
Smithers.
looked down because I was like, what is this episode? Do I remember it? I just see this guy, main character, Archibald Beechcraft. I was like, he's gonna be wearing a mascot.
Yep.
That already makes it like a top 10 episode just for the name alone.
It's
So.
starting high. It's starting high. We'll see what happens.
So we'll look forward to that. But without further ado, we're gonna head out. Triv, Jacob, awesome as always. You guys know you're excited. Jacob, since we're recording this early, I don't know if you want to say to the audience, but congratulations. I'll leave it at that.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I had a kid last
Yay.
week.
Yeah, we'll go with last week. He had a kid last week. It's the week before, and the kids was last week. Yeah,
I had a 7th
it's so
child.
confusing.
My 7th child was born last week. In all reality, it's not for another 3.5 days. But
No, the real congratulations is Avatar made another $3.5 billion. So
yeah,
it's at like
Avatar
6
is
now.
now the highest. Avatar 2 is the highest grossing film of all time now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna be bold on that one. I bet by the time this airs, I'm going to say, also breaking news: Avatar 2: The Way of Water, or Avatar: The Way of Water, is now the third, yes, the third highest grossing film of all time. Let's see if I was right.
What are
Yeah,
1 and
and,
2? Would it be Titanic and
It has
or
to
is
beat
it Avatar?
Titanic. It's right behind. It's number 4 right now. It's got to
Yeah.
beat out Titanic.
Okay.
The real
And then it'll be
congratulations
number
is
4, number 3.
I'll say the real congratulations is naming your child Awa. That's the real congratulations. Congratulations to Jacob for having another kid
Yay.
and now having an
Did
army
it.
of kids.
Did it again.
And
Congratulations.
but where can you find your content at that you do?
On YouTube, Jacob Anders Reviews, where I release videos periodically, at least once or twice a week, on things that I want to talk about. Not always things I think are good, but things I want to talk about. And I'm hoping that by the time this airs, this thing I've been talking about that I'm going to do will finally start to release. So I've got a new thing I'm excited
That
about.
should have happened a week ago.
Hopefully, we'll see. I got some stuff going on this week though, so
Yeah, a little busy.
a little behind.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see. I'll see what I can work out. But yeah,
There we
good
go.
stuff going on over there. Check out my content on Jacob Anders Reviews over on YouTube. And I also have a gaming channel that is very small. Check that out. There's going to be some new exciting content coming there. And Twitter. I spend time on Twitter. I don't post a lot of things, but I respond to a lot of things.
Cool. All right.
Red Neville
And
too. Yeah. Triv,
Red Devil too.
help me
Triv,
out.
yeah.
Get out of here. Get me out of here.
Play him
You
out.
can-
Play him out,
you
Sam.
can you can find my fucking content
Ooh, fucking
not baby related over on YouTube or here on YouTube under Trivial Theater. At this point I will have released the Apple collab with Narcotic Casserole. It's been out for a couple weeks, working on other stuff, but my output is slightly slower at the moment just because of other stuff. But keep an eye out there. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Trivial Theater.
And she won't admit it, but she drinks beer so she can do her James Corden love channel.
Oh, for God's sake.
Make love to a digital James Corden in cat suit.
Dixon! It's
but
more
with that-
on James Corden and Harry Cavill than mine will ever be.
Harry Cavill.
Yes.
Cavill.
Shut up. Shut up!
Henry Cavill.
She's gone from 6
Harry
to 10.
Cavill.
She's gone
It's
from suck to blow.
his brother.
But with that said, you can
French
also.
champagne.
But with that said,
Ah!
Anyways, with that said, you can find me at Movie Emporium. That's where all my content's at. I'm sure I posted some videos somewhere, some form or fashion.
Oh, it was a great video. My favorite.
I know, it's fantastic. I take my inspiration from Jacob, so great
Well, there you go.
videos.
Don't do that. Don't. Bad idea.
But we're also on audio feeds like Anchor and Audio Boom and Apple and whatever podcast feeds we're on in some form or fashion. So rate, subscribe. But for myself, Jacob, and Triv, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, motherfucker.
The French. Nick's like was
I know,
raised
right?
in a farm in California. Just fermented in the bottle.
Sucker. Daddy,
Nice.
mama, don't say that. I'm gonna teach you the crime. Just don't pay. Dun, 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 dun.